John, there are days that forever change America. Of course, September 11th, 2001, November 22nd, 1963. You can draw a line straight through that date and write volumes of books about the America before and the America after Kennedy was assassinated. And of course, December 7th, 1941. Perhaps the most momentous date in the 20th century, because I was looking at headlines just now to see what people were writing about this date, and I found a perfect one that explains what the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor did, not just to our fleet in the Pacific, but to every single American. The headline comes from the Sheboygan Press this morning. Pearl Harbor attack thrust Sheboygan, Wisconsin into World War II. I'm thinking about my family in Dalton, Georgia, my 17-year-old uncle at the time, Uncle Bill, and thinking about my grandmother on her knees praying every night that he would return home safely 4 years later. It's amazing what this one attack did to every single American family, and also, of course, to the direction of the United States for the 80 years that followed.
It's, as President Roosevelt said, the initial draft said that today will be a day that will live in world history. In one of the great edits, FDR wrote the date which will live in infamy. It's vital to, I think, the implications from this date elevated America to an unrivaled, unparalleled position of power. Imagine 4 years later, we had the capacity in our hands to destroy human life. We had that much power because of the Manhattan Project. You had this remarkable, rapid rise to a dizzying pinnacle of power. But we were dragged into this. We were dragged into a fundamental conflict between democracy and dictatorship, between the Enlightenment and fascism. We were dragged into it not only by the Japanese attack today, but 5 days later by Adolf Hitler's declaring war on the United States. We did not declare war on Nazi Germany until Nazi Germany declared war on us. So, as Churchill once said, you can always count on the Americans to do the right thing once we've exhausted every other possibility. And I think that that's an important thing for us to remember, not to therefore lower our expectations of ourselves, but to remember that even the greatest generation, as our friend Tom Brokaw called it, talking about your family, my grandfathers were in the war, even they were not early on this story. They weren't early converts to the defense of democratic values versus the horrors of dictatorship, particularly in Europe. But we got it right. And so what that tells us, it seems to me, is that if they got it right and they were fallen, frail, and fallible people, we as fallen, frail, and fallible people can get our own time right.